went too far in their closing argument, especially when talking about Corey's demeanor in court and speculating about what may have been going through her mind. That led to a tense exchange between the judge and defense attorney Kathy Nestor.
I just don't even think that her demeanor is proper to rely upon because she didn't
Certainly
testify.
I mean, she burst out in laughter during the showing of the decedent's body. I don't think it would be appropriate for me to tell the jury you can't possibly consider that.
I'm sorry, but I have no idea what you're talking about. I totally trust you, but I have no recollection of any laughter when his body was shown.
No, it was a hypothetical, Ms. Nestor.
Oh,
to
thank
probe
goodness.
the bounds of your categorical statement that the jury can never consider the defendant's demeanor.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying she did that, and I was just horrified.
Please stay focused.
But I am focused. I just misheard you.
So the judge ultimately denied the mistrial request, saying the prosecution's comments didn't cross the legal line. But he did say jurors can rely on their own observations of Richens in court, just not on what the lawyers say about her demeanor.
And so what's happening in the courtroom right now?
Right. So right now the defense is delivering its closing argument to the jury. Corey's defense attorney, Wendy Lewis, I just saw minutes ago, began by telling jurors that every claim the state has made has a reasonable explanation, arguing prosecutors still haven't proven this case with hard evidence. Once the defense finishes, prosecutors will get the final word with a rebuttal closing since they carry the burden of proof. After that, the judge will send the jury off to begin deliberations.
KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joining me live in studio with the latest on the Corey Richens murder trial. He'll continue watching the closing arguments today, and he'll bring us the latest updates on Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news. As this multi-week trial wraps up, we take a look at the next step in the process, jury deliberations. Let's get some analysis on this latest move from KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. Greg, are you joining me now?
Yes, it's good to be with you, Britt.
Okay. Was there anything in the closing arguments of this case that really stood out to you?
Well, I think both sides, and that they're not quite finished yet, but both sides did what they have to do. The state has to go through its case and show the jury how they proved each and every element of the crimes, and there are 5 here, so it took quite a while to go through those. Of course, the big item, of course, is count 1, which is the homicide. And then the defense is going through each and every one of those and showing how the state didn't prove it, because the state always has the burden of proof. It's a high standard. They have to prove their case, what we call beyond a reasonable doubt. And the defense is pointing out, as they should, that there's doubt in everything that the state has done, and they're trying to create that doubt in the jury's mind so that when they go back to deliberate this afternoon, they'll have to weigh that doubt and decide if the state has in fact proven its case.
And Greg, could you walk us through the process of jury deliberation? What's going to be happening behind closed doors?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because the jurors have all been together for like 3 or 4 weeks now. They have been sequestered to the point where they can't talk about the case. They go home at night. They can do what they want to do, but they can't talk to each other about the case. They can't form an opinion until they're done. Now, after these arguments, they're going to get in a room, and for the very first time in 3 weeks, they're going to be able to talk to each other about what they're seeing or what they've learned about the facts of the case. They'll appoint a person to be what they call the foreperson, and then they'll start doing the deliberations. So the judge has given them about 60 or 70 jury instructions that they'll have to follow. They'll weigh those instructions against the evidence that they heard from the witnesses and decide if, in fact, the state has proven its case. And they'll have to go through, like I said, each and every count and each and every element of those counts. So I expect the deliberations will go for a couple of days.
If the jury does come back quickly, though, what do you think that says about this case and the verdict?
You know, quick verdicts on a case like this are very rare, but what it says is either the state just didn't have a case at all if they come back with a not guilty, or that the case was so overwhelming that they were disappointed maybe that the defense didn't present any evidence if they find her guilty. So a quick verdict just means one side was very, very compelling and there wasn't much to consider. But I don't expect a quick verdict by any means, Brett.
If the jury does give a guilty verdict, what would be the next steps in the process for Corey Richens?
They'll go to what's called sentencing, which means the judge will take over and decide what her punishment would be. And this case is an aggravated murder. The state waived the death penalty, so it's not a death penalty case, but the judge could impose a sentence of 25 to life, or even maybe life in prison without the possibility of parole. And then, of course, there are 4 other counts that carry various prison terms as well. So the judge will decide what the punishment would be. If she's convicted of the homicide, she will certainly go to prison. And then the Board of Pardons will decide how much of that time she'll actually serve.
Is there a timeline for when this all would happen?
Yeah, sentencing usually takes place about 6 or 7 weeks after the verdict. So I think this judge has his calendars on Monday, so it'll probably be a Monday in probably May, early May, sometime around then, or maybe toward the end of April.
Okay, great. I've been talking to Greg Skordas, KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources. Thanks for joining me, Greg.
You bet.
Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
As the Department of Homeland Security continues to face a lack of funding, the effect is being felt on TSA agents and airline travelers around the country. Over the weekend, the CEOs of the nation's largest airlines sent an open letter to Congress calling for federal workers to be paid during the partial government shutdown. The lack of pay is creating staffing issues at airports as spring breaks begin or end nationwide. ABC's Clara McMichael covers transportation, and she said on the Start Here podcast.
This comes on the tail of another very long government shutdown a couple months ago when they were in the same situation. They weren't paid for over 40 days. They were having to take out loans in some cases, having real trouble filling their tanks up with gas, putting food on their tables. We've heard that some folks who took out loans during the last shutdown haven't even been able to pay them back.
And the issues with staffing having a negative effect on travelers, many of whom have faced long lines trying to get through security at some of the nation's busiest airports.
Over this last weekend, we saw long lines in Atlanta. They actually had to close one of their checkpoints. We saw lines in Newark, in Austin. Earlier, a week ago, we saw them at Hobby Airport in Houston and New Orleans. Now, you may notice that some of these airports I named are coincidentally spring break destinations.
Here in Salt Lake City, the average wait times for security have been sitting around 15 minutes, which is pretty normal. Officials at the SLC International Airport say they're grateful for our local TSA employees and that they've continued to work without pay to support airport operations. And that's crucial to keep people safe and to keeping wait times at security low. Spokesperson Nancy Vollmer says they're now expanding how they support them back.
The longer this goes on, that the harder it is for the workers. And so one thing that we've been trying to do here at the airport to help support them is do a food pantry. And so we do have an area in our office set up with everything, from cereal to diapers to potatoes and fruit. And so the workers can access that to help because they obviously don't have the money to pay for groceries, to pay for their mortgage, to pay for gas. And we actually just started this today. We have the ability for passengers who are traveling through to bring items and put them in a blue bin we have by our visitor information desk on level 2. We have had a blue bin set up at our park and wait lot which is on the way into the airport, the Touch and Go store, where the public can drop off non-perishable items as well. And we're also accepting gift cards. So if anyone is interested in donating gift cards, and we have had members of the public do that, you can bring them to our airport offices during business hours. So there's a couple of things we're trying to do to help support them. We're also asking passengers to be, very aware of the situation, be very patient and kind when they're going through the security screening lanes, because it has been very busy here at SLC. We just had, I think it was a week ago Sunday, we had our busiest day ever here at the airport. So we have a lot of people who are traveling for the skiing. And of course, with the spring break travel season coming up, we have a lot of people who will be coming through the airport for that. And when you look at those numbers, you consider there's like 30,000 people plus going through security screening on those busy days. That's a big load for those TSA officers. So again, just keep in mind that they're doing the best that they can, especially when they're not getting paid, and to be patient and to be kind with them.
And while the food pantry isn't necessarily new, travelers can now get in on spreading the love.
When this happened last fall, we were given the authority from the city council to purchase items, because we set up a food pantry at that point. So we go to Costco every week. And then we also have some of the tenants here. Some of our airlines have donated, as well as employees, and like I said, members of the public have donated as well. So there's certain items that we aren't able to get at Costco, like hamburger helper and tuna helper, and rice apparently in small quantities. So we're asking people, those are the things that we're needing the most right now. But anything helps.
Volmer says before the shutdown, there were about 450 TSA workers at Salt Lake City Airport. But since the shutdown, it's been hard to track if any employees have left locally. She says wait times at security have continued to hover around their average of 15 minutes, but that could change if this shutdown continues. The midterm season is now in full swing here in Utah, as the deadline for candidates to file has now passed. We'll go through some of the bigger names running to represent you coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
No accidents, no delays reported on our freeways and main secondaries. Downtown drivers, we're getting reports that crews are still trying to clean up this crash. It's almost gone and moved out of the way at West Temple and 9th South. At UTA, it's never just a ride from point A to point B. They move independence. They move purpose. They move memories. They move what matters. You. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Gear up for adventure at the Utah RV Super Show. Whether you're outfitting a new rig or upgrading your current setup, you'll find awnings, hitches, solar panels, camping gear, and more. Shop top brands, talk with experts, and explore the latest 2026 RV models, all under one roof. The Utah RV Super Show takes over the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, March 19th through Sunday, March 22nd. Learn more at UtahRVSupershow.com. That's UtahRVSupershow.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news. Keep in mind, it's not just you.
I owed roughly $34,000.
$61,000. When the IRS first contacted me, I was horrified.
When they start hounding you and harassing you and assaulting you.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
From what I got told was being done in a matter of 2 years, he had done in a matter of like 48 hours.
It's a great thing to have the IRS off your back.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
Once I signed on with Jordan, I never talked to the IRS again.
It changed our lives.
You need someone to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit endtaxworry.com. That's endtaxworry.com.
At Trio South Ogden, the best years aren't behind you. They're right here. Discover independent living services that embrace aging as an opportunity to lean in, not step back, to pursue passions, not retire from purpose. Here, life is bright, colorful, and unapologetically fun. Because aging doesn't mean changing who you are. It means having more time to be exactly who you are. Schedule your tour today at triosouthodogden.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Midterm election season is well underway, and the board is just about set. The deadline for candidates to file in this year's primary races passed on Friday, so we now know who will be running for the June races. KSL political insider and co-host of Inside Sources, Holly Richardson, says she's very interested in the new Congressional District 1, which makes up a large part of Salt Lake County.
So CD1 is now the new district that is kind of the donut hole in the middle of the state.
The one that would lean Democratic.
The one that would lean Democratic. And so there were a couple of surprises for me with the Democrats. So first of all, there were 7 Democrats who did file, but there was one notable Democrat who did not file.
Yeah, Derek Kitchen decided at the last minute, and he'd been working hard. Mm-hmm. He'd been sending things out. I received a number of texts from his campaign about his campaign. He seemed to have a lot of momentum. He also had very good name recognition. He was a former state senator.
Yeah, that's right.
And
he was part of a very famous lawsuit as well.
Right. Yes, that's true. And he bailed out last week by not filing, and I think people asked what's going on, and he said, I decided not to. We don't know the reason why. It's not important, but I was surprised at that one.
This new district is expected to lean pretty heavily towards Democrats, but even with that, there are several Republicans who've thrown their hat in the ring.
But as you mentioned, there are 5 Republicans who filed to run in that district as well.
Yeah, because I don't know that that's a sure thing for the Democrats. I mean, a lot of people are saying it certainly leans Democratic, and I would expect that there would be a tight race within the Democratic Party for the primary, and that the Democratic candidate that comes out of that would probably have some edge. But it's not by any means a sure thing. And so, yeah, we have 5 Republicans that joined that race.
Yep. And we have 1 member of the Forward Party and 1 Libertarian in that race.
The Democrats surprised me because there were so many. And you already mentioned that 1 bailed out, so there were 8 that were looking at it. Now, Ben McAdams jumped in early. Mm-hmm. We assumed that he was going to be a part of that. Kathleen Reeby, I think, was the first one to announce. We haven't heard a lot from her. I'm sure we will.
She was busy with the session.
Yeah, Nate Bluen has been very active in pursuing that position, and so the Democrats are certainly not sitting back and jumping on one particular bandwagon. They're opening it up for as many people that want to run as possible, and maybe that's a good thing for the party.
Holly says for Democrats, this will be really interesting, especially since Democrats in Utah haven't really had to have competitive primary elections.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because you don't usually get a really strong Democratic primary. Sorry, my Democratic friends. But this one, you will see that, right? So you'll see a convention process. There are some Democratic candidates who will be doing convention only. There are some that have signatures. So Ben McAdams has his signatures confirmed. I think Nate Bluen is really close. And then there's others that are working on it, and they've got until, I think, the middle of April to finish those. And then there's convention in April, and then the primary is in June. So that'll be interesting to see Democrats who have to go through a pretty strong primary.
KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera spoke to Utah political analyst Adam Gardner, who says some of the most closely watched races include challenges within the same party, including in Utah's congressional districts. District 2 took some unexpected turns, like Carrie Ann Lisenby being brought up as a challenger to Blake Moore, amongst some other things.
I think the biggest story
of this entire cycle, as far as the congressional races go, is Burgess Owens deciding to step down. I thought he really took one for the team, and that was pretty admirable.
And Gardner says there were also some interesting moves in other districts and some trends being established.
I think just the districts themselves. I think instead of having competitive general elections, we're going to just be having competitive primaries, which is unfortunate with the map that is being used. It seems like in District 1, they're running as far to the left as possible. In District 2, Carrie Ann Lisenby is joining the race purposefully to be on Blakemore's right. District 3, this one, in my opinion, is really interesting because Celeste Malloy is easily one of the most conservative members of Congress, and she won originally because she was very conservative. She was very popular in rural Utah, and then 2 years later, nothing had changed with her, except someone tried to outflank her on her right, and this year that person is Phil Lyman.
With the filing deadline now behind them, candidates move into the next phase of the campaign, gathering signatures and preparing for the primary election in just a few months.
It's going to be interesting to see how easy or difficult it will be to gather signatures, because everyone is really fed up with the signature gathering process, and they don't understand how it works because it's been so convoluted with Prop 4, with the repeal of Prop 4, and with being able to remove your name. And so that honestly is going to be the biggest test right now for candidates is let's see if the voters have an appetite for that. It's also really interesting because candidates like Phil Lyman have been staunchly against signature gathering. And the day he announced, he said, I need help getting signatures gathered. And it seems like that issue now is being swept under the rug. So I feel like candidates are brushing aside their philosophy in favor of expediency. And that's going to be interesting to see how delegates and voters respond.
Political observers say the real competition in many districts may happen in June, but remember, the ultimate decision won't happen until the general election in November. It's 1:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Some of the stories we're watching this hour. The historic Rio Grande Depot set to transfer owners thanks to legislation passed by state lawmakers. We'll go in depth on the plans, what may happen to the building, and why friends of the depot aren't pleased with the way this process is going. And KSL traffic, here's Ricky.
It may be a gloomy day, but freeway traffic looks great. Britt?
And let's take a look at the weather. We've got a nice springy week ahead of us. Highs getting up to 80 on Thursday and Saturday. Today's going to be the coolest day, only reaching 60. And we're going to hit KSL's top local stories in just 1 minute. But first, we have our ABC stories.
ABC News, I'm Wayne Cabot. President Trump says American allies need to step it up and protect oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz from Iranian strikes, saying the U.S. has done its part by, as he put it, obliterating its Navy and Air Force. In Qatar, ABC's Patrick Reevell.
One thing that was notable listening to the president while being here in Doha was him saying that no one expected when they launched this operation that Iran would lash out at other regional countries in the Middle East. But that is not the case. I think most experts in this region were not surprised when Iran lashed out and began targeting energy infrastructure because that is its main leverage.
And cut off from Venezuelan oil, Cuba, all of it, 11 million people now in blackout. Long lines at airports from TSA shortages, now worse in South Florida because of spring breakers. And they're bracing for possible twisters from North Florida to New Jersey. The D.C. mayor urging people to stay off the roads right now. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. Today, closing arguments are underway in the Corey Richins murder trial. She's the Camas mother accused of poisoning her husband and writing a children's book on grief. As the trial comes to a close, prosecutors point at the life insurance policies and millions in debt, claiming she killed Eric Richins for money. Richins' defense team is addressing the jury right now, and we'll continue to bring you the updates on KSL News Radio. Other local stories KSL is following. The impact of the giving machines of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints continues to grow. During the 2025 Christmas season, machines were placed in 21 countries on 6 continents, resulting in 4.7 million items being given. One of the most popular donations this year were piglets.
We've been able to help thousands of people through the pig donations.
Eric Loudon with the Academy of Creating Enterprise tells the church newsroom for some of the families raising and selling the piglets, it'll double their annual income. A Sandy man has been arrested after police say he stole drugs from patients at a rehab facility. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott reports.
According to police documents, 45-year-old Isaac Waters was arrested after a family member reported finding a trash bag full of medicine logs and empty blister packs of prescription medicine. Waters apparently told police that he specifically took medicine from people who had large packs so they wouldn't notice the missing drugs. Police say tramadol, gabapentin, methadone, and oxycodone were all among the drugs recovered.
Waters is being charged with theft and 2 counts of abuse of a vulnerable adult. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 422 points, the S&P is up 68 points, and the Nasdaq has gained 276 points. Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big, UCCU. Love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Travel times up and down I-15. That's in Weber, Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties. All the Valley freeways are seeing light speeds and no problems. You do want to watch for construction. It's a reduced speed limit in any construction zone, like the one blocking a right lane of traffic southbound I-215's west belt after 7th North, taking you past the I-80 junction. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be the coolest day in the 7-day forecast. It's only getting to about 60 degrees for our high, but after that, you just might be able to pull out your shorts and t-shirts, getting into the 70s and then maybe even 80 Thursday and Saturday. It's going to feel great. Right now, it's 52 degrees and cloudy from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Brought to you by Envision Utah.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos is off today. The historic Rio Grande Depot in Salt Lake City is set to change hands. The state of Utah planning to offload the building to the University of Utah. State leaders approached university officials about the opportunity to receive the historic building as part of maintaining state control of it. I spoke to KSL.com reporter Carter Williams, who was able to give me more details.
What has happened is that the Utah legislature is just transferring over ownership of the Rio Grande Depot from what has historically been the Utah Historical Society to the University of Utah.
Do you know why they decided to make this change?
Yeah, it's kind of unclear at this point why this is happening. The building has been closed for a few years, though. It was damaged during the 2020 earthquake and still undergoing renovations. And at the same time, Utah State Historical Society, they're in the process right now of opening up the new State Museum of Utah that's opening later this year. It's possible that they'll have new offices in that space, and maybe the changes happen there. And this would at least retain the building within the state and have some sort of entity that's using this depot.
And this is part of House Bill 2, but I didn't see the depot or this transfer mentioned anywhere in the bill text. How do we how did we get here?
Yeah, it's interesting because, it's not, I didn't see it in the text either, but there are some documents attached to that bill that clearly outline that there's a transfer that's initiated in this, and that includes, over $600,000 in the ongoing maintenance and operations costs that typically would go to the Utah Historical Society that now goes to the University of Utah, which are included in the bill.
You were saying that it has been closed for the last several years. Do you know what's been going on with it in that time period?
Yeah, so the building itself got damaged pretty decently from the 2020 earthquake. That was almost 6 years ago now. It's 6 years ago this week that happened. It's been closed since then. There's been a huge renovation / retrofit to seismically upgrade the building. It is a protected landmark in the city, so therefore that there are additional protections that ensure that it will remain, a building in the future. But yeah, at this point, it's a really lengthy process. I mean, you've seen just with the Salt Lake Temple, the efforts that have gone to seismically retrofit that building. The same thing is happening here, where you have a very large building that needs to have these types of upgrades. I don't think it's necessarily the same level of detail that they've been doing at the Salt Lake Temple, but it's still a very large building that needs to go through these repairs and upgrades to just be seismically fit for the next, 100 years.
And so this ownership transfer, do we feel like that's maybe a positive thing then for the building, or is it still remain to be seen?
Yeah, I mean, because it is a landmark, I think the building is in a good standing, just in the sense that, it's probably going to be there because it would have to go through a huge public process to do anything to it necessarily in that realm. But, it's unclear, I guess, how it will be used and all that stuff. But yeah, I do think that this does indicate that it will have some sort of stature, especially as the Rio Grande district behind it grows. This is an area that's poised for a lot of new developments, and it's definitely one of the areas that Salt Lake City is looking to kind of push new developments as a lot of its historic downtown core has expanded to the areas that are kind of south and west of what's been typically known as downtown. So it's an interesting thing that we'll have to see how it's used, but I do think that this does indicate that it will be used for some sort of purpose.
KSL.com reporter Carter Williams there. Right now, there isn't a clear plan for the building. And like Carter said, according to House Bill 2, there's $600,000 that will go towards operations and maintenance costs that are coming from state appropriations and income tax funds that will be transferred to the university. In just
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
We've been talking about the state's decision to transfer ownership of the Rio Grande Depot to the University of Utah. It's related to House Bill 2, which addresses state appropriations and income tax funds. One group, Via Rio Grande, is pushing back against this move. I spoke to Christian Lenhart, who's a civil engineer and co-author of the Rio Grande Plan, a proposal to move rail services in Salt Lake City underground and revitalize the depot to once again serve trains. He tells me he doesn't like the way this all happened.
Well, we're very disappointed that the state would relinquish a historic building like the Rio Grande Depot, and we're especially disappointed and shocked that they would do it without any kind of public comment, and they would do it in such a way that seemed to be done in a. We're very surprised that they would do it in a way that seems to be trying to avoid public attention like this.
Are you disappointed because they hadn't opened it up to the public and you felt like it needed more of that kind of input, or are you disappointed because you're worried about what might happen?
Well, both of those things. The Rio Grande Depot has been in the past a community center for the west side of the city. I mean, the farmers markets and other things used to be hosted in there. And so it's a space that demands a certain amount of public feedback before ownership and the use of the building changes. But also, we've been proposing that the Rio Grande Depot could be reused as a train station again as part of the Rio Grande Plan, which would make public transit that much more appealing and that much more effective in Salt Lake City. And it seems like not only have they not been hearing our voices, but they're taking steps to prevent that action from being taken, which is shocking to us. There's about 3 different reasons that we think to do it. The first could be the Rio Grande Depot. Yes, it's a magnificent train station. It's so much better than what we have now as a central station. It's much closer into downtown. It would just make the whole idea of using public transit that much more appealing and acceptable to the general public. But the Rio Grande Plan is more than that. It's also a way to eliminate grade crossings downtown so that there'd be no more railroad crossings blocking east-west travel and causing the number of delays and fatalities that there are now. It would also be a way to redevelop the west side of downtown to take the rail yards and turn them into new neighborhoods and developments so that there'd be more housing, more space for residents, more commercial space, more parks, and just have that area be full of people again instead of having it be this great big gap and division between the east and west sides. We think it's the very best thing that can be done to promote and improve Salt Lake City. And so the Rio Grande Depot is a part of it, a major part, but still just one part of the Rio Grande Plan. And it's emblematic of the plan as a whole. So if the state is transferring ownership of the depot and doing it in such an underhanded way, it sounds to us as if they are not just ignoring, but trying to prevent this kind of improvement from taking place in the city.
Right now, it's undecided as to what they will do with it. It's speculated it could possibly be used as a museum or for educational purposes. Would that type of use at least maybe appease people in your organization?
To be clear, we have nothing against the University of Utah. It's a great institution, and we do need more cultural spaces, more museums, more space for students and academics. The issue is that the train station was designed to be a train station. We think it can be a train station again, and we don't know of any other major city that has its train station owned and operated by a university. It would just be adding one more institution into the mix that would complicate the development of the Rio Grande plan. And so we feel that there's a much better use of the Rio Grande Depot, and it's just disappointing that this would happen without any kind of public input or public comment period. It's a building that belongs to the community, and this kind of thing, if it's happening to the Rio Grande Depot, it can happen to all different kinds of other buildings. Like, there needs to be a process that is followed, some sort of respect that needs to be offered to the citizens, that this is part of your community and we need to be able to have our voice heard if the use of these buildings and the ownership of these buildings is going to change like that.
Christian Lenhart is a civil engineer and driving force behind a community movement called the Rio Grande Plan. He's taken to YouTube to enlist his followers to reach out to state officials in opposition of this ownership transfer. And you can learn more about the plans to transfer ownership of the depot, as well as the plan to move the rail lines underground and back to the Rio Grande at KSL.com. One young Utah artist trying to make her mark on the national stage as she moves ahead in a competition for America's Most Artistic Kid. More on that story coming up after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
No reports of any kind of crashes or delays on our big roadways, but we do have some backups around the intersections of State Street at 7200, 7800, and again at 90th South, plus construction causing some slowing, and that's almost in all directions at the intersection of State Street and 114th South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
One fast-growing tax scam right now involves identity theft, when criminals file fake tax returns or access benefits using your information. That's where ID.me comes in. ID.me helps protect taxpayers like you by making sure the person using the IRS's online services is actually you. It uses identity verification, like your ID and a selfie, to stop fraudsters from accessing your tax information or government benefits in your name. Once your identity is verified, you can safely access IRS tools, review your tax information, and it can also help someone else from filing a phony tax return under your name.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Think about this. In 2006, $20,000 equaled roughly 33 ounces of gold at the spot price. At today's prices, those 33 ounces would be worth over $150,000. Smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals. That's why I buy gold from Birch Gold Group. It's a crucial part of my balanced strategy. Gives me peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you too. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text my name, Dan, to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold help you diversify with gold. Now that's peace of mind. Text Dan to 989898. Again, text my name, Dan, to the number 989898 today. Message and data rates apply.
Does your home have peeling paint or faded colors? Don't procrastinate. You need to protect your home with quality paint and a worry-free process, so make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. You quickly get a free estimate that's detailed, easy to understand, and then their trusted local professionals will bring fresh color to your home with quality craftsmanship at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. CertaPro.com.
Interest rates have gone up for buying a home, but not for remodeling the exterior of your home. This week only at RGS Exteriors, it's our zero interest financing sale. That's right, 0% interest on any gutters, siding, windows, or any exterior remodeling project on your home. We have programs for 12, 18, and 24 months, all with 0% financing. But the sale is this week only at RGS Exteriors. Want stunning James Hardie siding? 0%. Need to replace your windows? 0%. New gutters or gutter covers? 0%. How about a full extreme makeover? That's right, 0%. We've also been serving Utah for 5 generations, so you can trust us to do the job right. All work is backed by our exclusive 10-year everything guarantee for total peace of mind. And this week only, everything is available for 0% financing with approved credit. Don't put off your new exterior project any longer. As always, estimates are free, so call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
It's time to upgrade your arsenal with the Shields Field and Range Sale Event. Save on your favorite brands in ammo, firearms, optics, and more. You'll have to hurry, though. This sale only runs through March 22nd. Plus, with your Shields Visa, you'll earn an extra 10 points for every $1 spent on Vortex products at Shields, which means you'll earn even more My Rewards gift cards. Visit Shields or shields.com and save now through March 22nd.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is Midday. I'm Britt Johnson, filling in for Maria Shilaos. Drought conditions and increased strain on our water sources is affecting Utah's native fish.
Utah is supposed to see some pretty substantial population growth. And while that's going on, the use of our water will be in higher demand. And so the effort is to make sure that we're using our resources as efficiently as we possibly can to make sure that fishing in the state of Utah stays, world class. We're also looking to do several other native species in addition to the ones that we're already doing.
The Division of Wildlife Resources has created a long-term plan to keep the population healthy. I spoke to the state fish hatchery coordinator, Jared Smith, who says there are several goals they hope to achieve as part of this initiative.
To increase the production of native fish species. The second one would be raising and stocking more cool and warm water fish species. And because of the water temperatures in the state, some of the mid and low elevation water bodies that were traditionally stocked with trout and other cold water species can now be stocked with species that better tolerate those warmer water temperatures. And as a result, some of the current hatcheries will transition to raise more of those cool and warm water species. The Logan hatchery is a good example of this. They've just finished the facility there. It's kind of the first of its kind, especially in the state, but they'll be raising walleye, catfish, and wiper. The third one would be adjusting the sizes and the number of fish stocked. So in the future, fewer fish may be stocked at water bodies that primarily see catch and release fishing and replaced with fish that have high survival rates and or natural reproduction. These would be things like those bass, crippers, catfish, or walleye. And then the fourth bullet point of the plan would be raising different strains of trout at various hatcheries. Traditionally, fish strains that have done well in certain hatcheries, we'll focus on those hatcheries, those strains that have done well there, and then ones that haven't, we'll send those to the other hatcheries throughout the state. So the whole system should be more efficient.
Smith says another issue they face is that all of the state's fish hatcheries are at capacity and many are aging and in need of repair. But they just acquired the Loa Fish Hatchery, which should give them more room to move the fish species around as needed, and that'll allow them the ability to update and maintain current hatcheries. With the added space and updated facilities, it should help promote healthy fish as well. A young girl from Magna is making her mark as an artist in a nationwide competition. 11-year-old Anaya Munez is currently competing in America's Most Artistic Kid, a national competition for young artists. Her mother, Rashina, tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez that drawing has been her passion for years now, and her favorite thing to do is create and draw her own characters.
Ever since she was just really small, and she's always loved to draw, and it's just been her passion. Like, every holiday, every birthday, we already know what we're going to give her. It's always art supplies. Everywhere she's going, she's got her little backpack full of all of her stuff, and she's constantly drawing. Like, it's pretty amazing. But she's been really progressing over the last 2 years. It's pretty cool because she'll go back and look at some of her old artwork, and then she'll redraw it and like compare it and see how well she's improving. And she's really starting to understand colors, like how to layer them and highlight everything. And her favorite thing to do is to draw characters. She comes up with characters left and right. She's so good at it. But yeah, it's just been part of her life. We joke that she eats, breathes, and lives art.
Rashina says she stumbled upon the competition when searching for ways to highlight her daughter's art.
So I've actually never heard of it before either. This is my first time coming across it, but she's just been expressing like a want to get her art out there and have people see it. So I kind of just looked up if there was like any local competitions I could add her to, and I just came across this one, and I thought it was really cool because it's not just an art competition, it's also a fundraiser for blood cancers. So I mean, the fact that she gets to do something she loves and help out people, I just thought that was really amazing.
Right now, Anaya is in the top 10 for her competition group.
So how it works is there's like a pretty large amount of groups that they have, but they kind of group everybody off together, and they kind of get it down to the final 5 of those groups. And then once they get it to the winner of each group, they go on to the group final. The quarterfinals. And then they just keep going down from there. It's like a week at a time that you can vote. So after each week, typically on a Thursday, they announce who's continued on to the next round. So she made it to the 20. They just did the top 15. Now she's in the top 10. And then next week it will be for the top 5.
If Anaya wins, she receives $20,000. Her artwork will be displayed in a museum, and she will appear on an episode of The Joy of Painting. Her mom says if she wins, the money will go to her education and pursuit of art.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The brackets are out and the games are almost all set to begin in the NCAA tournament. The Utah State Aggies made the cut, as did the BYU Cougars. But who will BYU play on Thursday? It's between 2 teams.
I think the Texas matchup, I think that would be the preferred one. NC State, I think, has more top-end talent with Darian Williams, a guy that was at Texas Tech who crushed BYU a year ago. So I would say the Longhorns would be the better matchup, but either one can go up and down with BYU.
The time is 2 o'clock on Monday, March 16th. It's midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos has the afternoon off. Coming up, KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper will join us for a breakdown on the Cougars' place on the bracket and how things could shape up as the tournament begins. Also this hour,
I can tell you that when this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. So is inflation, so is everything else.
President Trump urging patience as the war with Iran continues. Updates on the push to reopen the Strait of Hormuz coming up. But first, our top stories. In a matter of weeks, you may not be able to open carry guns on Utah's college campuses anymore. The new bill was actually sponsored by a well-known gun advocate, State Representative Walt Brooks. His proposal makes it clear anyone 21 and older can conceal carry on college campuses, whether they have a concealed carry permit or not. But it does not allow anyone to open carry on campus unless they're responding to an active threat.
Some people have open carried, have been arrested, but then not charged because it doesn't specifically say it has to be concealed carry.
If the governor signs off, the law would take effect in early May. Our top national story from ABC News. The war with Iran continues in its third week, and President Trump is now appealing to other countries to help ensure safe passage in the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest on the president's speech at the White House today.
President Trump continued to put pressure on allies to get involved in the effort to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't.
But he wouldn't say which countries have committed help, and so far, none have publicly. The president later, however, claimed the U.S. didn't need any help and indicated he was asking to find out how allies would react to his request.
We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 387 points, the S&P up 67 points, the Nasdaq has gained 268 points. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Right now, a quiet drive on all the Valley freeways remains if you're traveling east and westbound on 114th South between the I-15 freeway and just past State Street, about 200 East. You will see construction restricting lanes of travel and causing some backups. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
There will be a couple of days this week that'll feel almost like summer instead of spring. Thursday and Saturday getting up to 80 degrees. Today, it's the coolest day of the week, only hitting 60 degrees for our high, but we have clear skies all the way through the 7-day forecast. Right now, it's 52 degrees and cloudy at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your home Wi-Fi speeds with you. Thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just a fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's soccer practice streaming the other game in 4K, just like that. In the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap with Wi-Fi power boosts. What if the places you had to be felt more like everywhere you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity. Imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit xfinitymobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates for 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees, extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Hey, it's Brian with Olson's Greenhouse. In today's busy world, your home should be your sanctuary. A peaceful retreat where you can unwind, breathe deeply, and recharge. And what better way to create that haven than with flowers? A pop of color in your flower beds, a cheerful container garden by the front door, or a lush patio filled with vibrant blooms can transform any space into a personal oasis. Flowers don't just brighten up your home, they lift your spirits too. Research even shows that surrounding yourself with plants can reduce stress and boost happiness. At Olson's Greenhouse, we grow premium quality plants that make it easy to bring beauty and joy into your life. Whether you prefer bold, eye-catching colors or soft, soothing pastels, we have the perfect flowers to complement your space. And with locally grown plants, you know they're ready to thrive. This spring, create a sanctuary of color and comfort with flowers from Olson's Greenhouse. Find us on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens or go to OGG.com to find a retailer near you. That's OGG.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Britt Johnson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. The BYU Cougars have made it to the NCAA tournament, playing in round 1 this Thursday. But who are they playing against? Well, that still needs to be decided. The Utah State Aggies also getting a chance to dance. They'll take on the Villanova Wildcats on Friday at 2:10 p.m. our time. And all of this coming out of Selection Sunday yesterday. Let's break it all down with BYU Cougar insider Mitch Harper from KSL Sports. Mitch, why don't we know who BYU will play yet?
Because BYU will be waiting on the teams that were the last ones into the field by the selection committee. So that would be NC State and Texas. They were the last teams to receive at-large bids into the NCAA tournament. So they have to play their way into the first round. They'll play Tuesday night in Dayton, Ohio, and the winner of that game will then travel 3 time zones to the west to face BYU at 5:25 p.m. on Thursday in Portland.
And can you tell us a little bit about the 2 teams that BYU could go up against?
Yeah, Texas and NC State, both are teams that defense is kind of optional, and that's similar to what BYU is, where defense has improved for BYU, but still it's not their strength. Texas and NC State are high-powered offenses. They get up and down the floor. Talented teams, but both have been reeling a bit. Texas has lost 5 out of the last 6. NC State has had some recent struggles as well. So both teams badly needing a win and trying to rewrite their seasons. So whoever gets past that Dayton round in Tuesday, they'll face BYU, and BYU should be the favorite no matter who they face.
Hey, good news for Cougar fans. Are you surprised at all by BYU's place on the bracket?
I'm not. The 6th seed was somewhat expected, to be honest, and also the location, too, being in Portland. I thought that was something of note. Geography can play a bigger role in the NCAA tournament and success for a team than most people think. You know, a lot of teams probably did not want to go far to the West Coast, but for BYU, going to the Pacific Northwest is not a bad draw, and BYU will probably have fans that will show up to those games in Portland, and for BYU, it's a quick flight. So I think that was a solid draw for the Cougars, and I think the 6th seed was fair, considering they lost one of their star players in Richie Saunders earlier this year, back on February 14th, but have still put together some solid wins since then that have shown the selection committee that BYU is still a quality team that deserves to get a single-digit seed, and that's what they got.
Okay, great. Well, I've been talking with Mitch Harper, he's our BYU insider with KSL Sports, and we have some breaking news here on KSL News Radio. President Trump is speaking right now about an initiative to combat fraud. Let's listen in.
But when it comes to nursing homes, you saw where a young gentleman was going around and knocking on doors, and none of the nursing homes existed, none of the nurseries existed. The money that's being paid out, and the federal government pays for it. When you see all these people coming in illegally into our country, many criminals, many drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murders, and you look at California, and more come in, and yet they never had money, and yet they pay them. You know why they pay them? Because the federal government is charged with paying. We're not paying them anymore, and I said that. So these 2 really smart guys are going to be, hopefully it's going to be JDs. This will not be like a Kamala, where she was put in charge of the border, and she never went there, JD, right? You promise?
I promise, sir.
Remember, Kamala was put in charge. She was the border czar. She never went to the border. She never called any of the great Border Patrol. The Border Patrol testified. We never spoke to her in 4 years. And that was a disaster. But this is different. This is a different group of people. I think maybe before JD.
We'll continue to watch this and bring you updates. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type. Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The war with Iran continues into its third week, and President Trump says he's focused on getting the Strait of Hormuz reopened, asking allies to help in the process. The strait has been effectively closed to maritime traffic by Iran, and that has made oil and gas prices soar. White House officials have been pushing back on reports that President Trump is thinking of postponing his trip to China if China doesn't agree to helping protect the Strait of Hormuz. At the White House today, the president says the U.S. campaign in Iran has been successful.
We attacked Karg Island and knocked it literally, destroyed everything on the island except for the area where the oil is. I call it the pipes. We left the pipes.
President Trump also addressing high gas and oil prices.
I can tell you that when this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. So is inflation, so is everything else.
The president claims some countries have offered to help.
Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me.
EU nations and the United Kingdom have said they would not get involved in the Iran war. As President Trump mentioned, the U.S. struck an island in the Strait of Hormuz, hoping it will help to reopen the strait and get oil flowing again. ABC's James Longman reports from Iraq as Trump demands help for the Strait of Hormuz.
The United States went after the regime's economic lifeline, Karg Island. It is an island in the Persian Gulf. It is an oil terminal where all, or 90% of Iran's crude oil is processed. And the United States struck at this. It's kind of the crown jewel of the Iranian economy. Crucially, not the actual energy infrastructure.
So just about everything is gone, and you'll see that. But today we've had some very, very big hits, very powerful hits.
Trump himself said, I didn't want to hit the pipes. I just wanted to send a message. I think they hit at multiple regime facilities, IRGC buildings perhaps. But it was meant to send a shot across the bows, quite literally, of Iran to say, look, you're trying to strangle our oil supply. We can strangle yours.
We are in a position of dominance that nobody's ever seen before. And whether or not they're able to say the words or whether or not they're able to even fight, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone.
It doesn't seem to have worked so far because the Strait of Hormuz remains one of the most dangerous places you can try and send a ship. This is this incredible, important waterway where 20% of the world's oil passes, and it remains virtually impossible for ships to pass through it.
And this area is such key terrain, and now the world's watching to see what kinds of measures will be taken to fight back.
Now, Iran has said they don't want to strike at anyone but their enemies, that is to say the United States and Israel. Countries that are not involved in this war would be able to pass through, but we did see a Thai-flagged ship struck. So shipping companies, their insurers, crucially, are not taking them at their word, and so you have this situation where oil is basically being choked off, and it's going to spread to other parts of the world economy, because it's not just oil that passes through here, it's fertilizer. I think some 30% of the world's fertilizer passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Right. And then the kind of knock-on effect to the world economy goes far beyond gas prices. It starts to shake markets. It starts to cause inflation. It starts to cause, borrowing costs for countries to go up. I mean, I know anecdotally, for example, in the UK right now, mortgage offers are now being withdrawn from the market because, banks are not feeling confident at being able to offer certain rates to their customers. Wow. And so people who are in the middle of trying to buy homes in the UK right now are already starting to feel the impact of this. Things like that take a little longer to kind of ripple effect through into the US market, but one imagines the same could happen there.
This is short.
Longman says the single issue of this war is the Strait of Hormuz, and he says President Trump's request for help is a very interesting move, and the countries that he's appealing to have had mixed responses.
Yeah, there was quite an extraordinary message. It was not just to allies. I mean, China, there was a direct appeal to China. But yes, of course, to major US allies, Tokyo, I think, to the Japanese were asked. The UK was on this list on Truth Social.
I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory, because it is their territory. It's the place from which they get their energy.
None of them have been forthcoming with an immediate response. I think that's fair to say. I think the Japanese were very clear, and they just said basically, well, we make our own decisions about a time of our choosing to get involved.
We are not part of this war. We did not initiate it, but we are all affected by it.
The United States is finding it difficult to convince a wider coalition to start to get involved here, because none of these countries want to become targets themselves over and above what they've already become. And if you look at the French, they've already had a base here in Iraq struck, and they're not even taking part in these strikes. The UK was kind of had a very British response in some ways. I think one minister said, well, the best way to open the strait would, of course, be to stop the war entirely. Mm-hmm. But the UK also suggested they might be able to help in trying to disable mines that the Iranians have put out in the Strait of Hormuz, perhaps even with these mine attack drones that would take them all out.
Longman was reporting on the Start Now podcast and speculates that the U.S. could possibly try and occupy Kark Island as a way to get Iran to do what they want them to do. And the Oscar goes to... After the break, we'll break down the Oscars with our very own KSL Movie Show host, Andy Farnsworth. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's been a very easy drive on all the Valley freeways and our main secondaries like Mountain View, Bangerter, State Street. We haven't had any kind of problems, but we're now starting to see a little bit of busy traffic northbound I-15 passing 3300 South. We'll take a look at that a little closer, and if there's a problem, we'll keep you updated. It's the home and gift